Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Izzati binti Rosman and the other two is Nur Fatin Akila binti Azul Haimi and Siti Murni binti Rosdi. So we three gonna present the Amar Makruf and Nahi Munkar. So next, I will explain what is the concept of good and bad in Islam. So before we explain more about what is Munkar and Makruf, we need to know first what is the concept of good and bad. So the Quranic philosophy of good and bad is all based on man's nature. The nature of man has a freedom of action and desires. They also has power to act according to their will. Because Allah grant each man with two eyes for observation and surroundings, and a tongue with two lips for speech and explanation. Besides, He also granted the knowledge of good and evil to follow the righteous path. For example, Allah said Makruf and Munkar in Quran to remind mankind for always enjoining what is right and forbidding what is wrong. However, although man knows the directive of Allah, knows the command of Allah and the demands of the religion, but some of them act against command of Allah under their pressure of desire. Because of their desire, they act against the command of Allah with the help of their intellect. So, this shows that evil is created through man's misuse of his own power to act. They get into evil of their own. So at the end, all the acts of good and bad deeds will be recorded by angels, Raqib and Atid, then being held at the day of judgment.
There are many other meanings of Amar Ma'ruf Nahi Munkar. We decided to cut it word by word to give more understanding. From the sentence of Amar Ma'ruf Nahi Munkar, the word Al-Amru means to invite, to encourage, to promote, to spread, to command, and to enforce. Al-Ma'ruf, acceptable, Al-Bir, Al-Khair, virtue, goodness. Al-Amru bi Al-Ma'ruf, encouraging people to do goodness, spreading and promoting virtues, and fairness, goodness, and spreading da'wah and advice. Al-Nahi, to encourage, to advise not to do something, to prevent, to prohibit. Al-Munkar, disagreeable, evil, vice. Al-Nahi al-Munkar, to discourage not to do evil, and to prevent indecency.
So Fatin Akila has explained what is Makruf and Munkar. So here is the reason why the term Ma'ruf and Munkar being used. What is the reason? So Ma'ruf term is used because it includes everything, both internal and external, which has been enjoined by Allah and His prophets. These include absolute sincerity to Allah, which is ikhlas, and dependence on Allah, tawakkal, and all of the good things. All of the good things. Ma'ruf, okay? It is an obligation to all Muslims. So, Munkar. Why Munkar term? Munkar term is used because it has wider meaning than the other terms such as maksiat. Munkar means all that prohibited by Sharia. Both haram and makruh is munkar. So munkar is include all the bad things. So there are actions that considered munkar but not maksiat. Okay, so there's why the Munkar term use. Why do not use the maksiat term? Okay, I will give the example. For example, a non-puberty boy had found an alcohol accidentally and drank the action. So what is the hukum of the action? So the action does not consider as maksiat as the boy does not reach his puberty yet. So he does not sin. However, the action of the boy drinking the alcohol is considered as munkar, the action. So the because of the action is munkar, the adults must stop him.
Hukum of Amar Makruf Nahi Munkar. Hukum Amar Makruf Nahi Munkar is fardu kifayah, which means it is obligatory to all Muslims. According to Zamakhshari, it is inappropriate to assign this responsibility to someone who does not have knowledge about al-ma'ruf and al-munkar. If he or she does not know how to deal with this principle or is ignorant about it, then maybe will refrain people from doing good and allow them to do evil. He or she will do everything according to his or her understanding. From Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 104, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Waltakum minkum ummah, which means, and let there be arising from you a nation, which means half from you have to enjoining what is right and forbidding what is wrong, and those will be the successful. From the verse, it shows that it is obligated to implement Amar Ma'ruf Nahi Munkar, and it is a command by Allah, and ignoring it is a sinful. However, it can change to fardu ain, because when you see someone do the wrong act, you have to prevent it. Hadith of changing munkar. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radhiyallahu anhu narrated that he heard the Prophet saying, "He who amongst you sees something evil should change it with his hand, and if he has not the strength to do it, then he should do it with his tongue, and if he has not the strength to do it, then he should abhor it in his heart, and that is the weakest of faith." The word hand in this hadith refers to power and authority. Whenever and wherever a Muslim is in power, he or she must try to prevent al-munkar among people who are under his authority. For example, a CEO of a company must make a rule that everyone who is a Muslim wajib pray Zuhur Jama'ah to prevent from munkar happening. The word tongue symbolizes words and refers to the act of admonishing people and reminding them of the negative consequences of their immoral or evil conduct. If a Muslim is not able to change with hand or tongue, he must abhor in his heart. For example, the enemy has knife or gun that he afraid that his life will end, so he can hate that evil conduct in his heart. Preventing evil conduct is obligatory to all Muslims based on their own.
Hi, it's me Murni. Now let us continue to the next part, which we will know more about the integrals, or known as rukun, in commanding the right and forbidding the wrong. So, generally, there are four integrals in commanding the right and forbidding the wrong. The first one, who? Who may command the right and forbidding the wrong? Second, what may be censored in commanding the right and forbidding the wrong? Third, the person doing the wrong. And lastly, the act of censoring. So now let us begin with the first integrals, which who may command the right and forbidding the wrong, or in Arabic we call it al-muhtasib. Of course, the first one is legal responsibility, like Jabatan Agama Islam. Second, the person is being able to censure. I will explain later. Third, moral rectitude is not a condition. And last, not having a caliph's permission. Some scholars say that the person who wants to reprimand others must have a moral rectitude, which they say that a corrupt person is not entitled to censure, a position for which they adduce the word of Allah, the Most High. In Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 44, the meaning, do you enjoy pity to others and forget yourself? But in this situation, there are no grounds in the verse for such an inference. Having a caliph's permissions. Some scholars stipulated that the person delivering the censure must have permission to do so from the caliphs or his regional appointee like imam, but this is untrue because if you remember in hadith man ra'a minkum munkaran, in that hadith there is no stated that you need to have a caliph's permission before you going to command the right and forbidding the wrong. Next, the second integrals is what may be censured. So in order to censure or condemn someone, make sure that the person is doing something blameworthy that exists at present and apparent. Blameworthy here means that the act is prohibited by sacred law or Sharia Islam. Exists at present here may exclude who has finished and will take place later. For example, someone who has drunk wine and now is finished, or someone who intended to go drinking at night, so there is no censure in this situation. Maybe we just can advise him do not doing so. And apparent here means may exclude someone who conceal his disobedience at home and lock the door. But if there is some suspicious, for example, you smell the odor of wine outside the house, it is permissible for you to enter the house and condemning the person. And last, one may not condemn another for questions involving differences among schools of jurisprudence or mazhab. For example, if the problem is related to the mazhab or the problem need to going for some ijtihad, so you may not condemn the person because it is related with each mazhab. Next, the third influence is we need to have the person doing the wrong or al-munkar alayh. So the person should be reprimanded, and it is sufficient if he be a person and not necessary that he be legally responsible, as we had mentioned before in respect censuring a child or insane people. It is because it is impossible for us to give compound or someone maybe for a child who has drunk a wine because it is not a sin for him, since a child do not know yet what is wrong and what is right at the time. So the last integrals is the act of censuring, or in Arabic we call it al-ihtisab. Censure itself has various degrees of severity and has rules. So the first degree consists of knowing the wrong act. You should not stalk or spy at another's house in order to try to catch the scent or the odor of wine. And you should not ask the person's neighbor to see what he is doing inside his house. But if two upright witnesses come and inform you that someone else is drinking, you may enter his house and take him to task or start to censure and condemn him. The second degree consists of explaining that an act is wrong, since an ignorant person will often do something he doesn't know is blameworthy, but he will stop when he finds out. Make sure that you explain it with politely, like in Islam, we must admonish other bil hikmah. And third, the same thing like number 2, prohibit the act by admonition, advice, and making the other fear to Allah. How do you want to make the others fear to Allah? You just need to mentioning the hadith of divine punishment for it and remind the person how Allah will punish people in hereafter. And next, reviling the person and bearing down on him with sharp and harsh words. I'm sorry, not revealing, but reviling the person. Reviling him doesn't mean vulgarity and lies, but rather you say, you degenerate, you ignoramus, do you not fear Allah? Like Allah quotes to Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim, in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 67, Uffilakum walima ta'buduna min dunillahi afala ta'qilun. Fear on you and what you worship apart from Allah. Can you not think? Next, righting the wrong by hand, like pouring out wine, but not to do so when one can get the person to do it himself. Like if the person voluntarily to stop drink and pouring out the wine himself, so let just him to do himself. Just enough to obviate their being used for disobedience and no more. The sixth degree is threatening and intimidation, such as by saying, stop this or I will blah 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 blah. But in this rule, you need to try to make a threat that you cannot. The rule for this level is not to make a threat that you cannot carry out, such as saying, I will seize your house or I will take your wife hostage, because if you say this seriously, it is unlawful, and if it not serious, then you is lying. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Next, assault. Directly hit or kick the person, or similar measure that do not involve any weapon. This is permissible for private individuals provided it is necessary. Like you want to condemn your friends, if you able to do so, but make sure you not hit or kick the person seriously. Just hit for a minor hit like that. And last, force of arms. This is when you is unable to censure the act by yourself and require the army assistance of others. Sometimes the person being reproved but may also get people to assist him, and skirmish may ensue or war may happen. So you need to get a force of arms.
How it should be practiced. First, for the individual, being a model of Islamic moral and values. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, each one of you is a leader and responsible for those he leads. For organization, muhasibah or self-reckoning is an important function in a jama'ah. For society, remind each other about Islam and its teaching. For government, enforce law to avoid more crime and evil. Other ways, verbal, words and advice, writing, newspaper, magazine, books, novels, cartoons, and etc. Media, all programs that promote virtues and goodness and combat evil and indecency.
Okay, last but not least, the significance of Amar Makruf Nahi Munkar. First, a constant reminder for Muslims. Why? To help each other to follow the guidance of Allah and keep on the right path. So there is a Quranic text from Surah Az-Zariyat verse 55 and continue to remind, for surely the reminder benefits the believers. Second, to safeguard the society against corruption and evil. For purpose to weigh for social, moral and political change and to protect ourselves and families. Third, to avoid Allah's punishment. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, you people recite this verse. You who believe, care for yourself. He who goes astray cannot harm you when you are rightly guided. And put it in its improper place. I heard the Prophet saying, when people see a wrongdoer and do not prevent him, Allah will soon punish them all. Lastly, salvation to mankind. There is a chronic test. You are the best of the nations raised up for the benefit of mankind. You enjoin what is right and forbid the wrong and believe in Allah. Surah Al-Imran, verse 110. And that's all from us. Thank you.